Right, today we're going to look at two related suttas. Now this is from SD 51.17. The title is Chatuka Sobana Sutta, the Fourth Discourse on the Beautiful, A 4.7. But we're going to start by looking at the Panchaka Sobana Sutta, the fourth discourse on the assembly, A 4.211. These two suttas are related to followers and disciples of the Buddha, how we as followers and as disciples should conduct ourselves so that we are worthy of the teaching, we are true heirs of the Dhamma. Let us look at, let me see, the title sutta, okay, on page 79, Chatuka Sobana Sutta, A 4.7. Bhikshus, there are these four kinds of persons: competent, disciplined, morally virtuous, deeply learned Dharma bearers. So actually there are Dharma bearers here refers to those who practice the Dharma, and the four qualities are competent, disciplined, morally courageous, and deeply learned. In other words, when you have these four qualities, you are a Dharma bearer, Dharma Dara. Dharma bearer also means those who remember the Dhamma. You also can translate as Dhamma experts. So in other words, what the Buddha is saying is, what are the qualities that we have that make us remember the Dhamma, preserve the Dhamma, even become a Dhamma expert? The sutta is not, the instruction still continues. Dhamma bearers who practice the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma, who beautify the sangha. So what are the four? Okay. So here we have four kinds of people. So we have four qualities, or if you like 5 qualities, if you take Dhamma bearer as also as one quality. So here the Buddha says, okay, you must have these qualities. When you have these qualities, then you practice. It's easier for you or for us to practice the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. Practicing the Dhamma as taught by the Buddha, not following the way of the world, not changing things, not following cult teachers, and so on. So if we do this, if we practice the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma, then we beautify the sangha. So this word beautify the sangha this word beautify is often used to highlight the qualities of followers and disciples. Those very special, very wonderful qualities. In fact, we even have in one of the Majjhima Suttas, you have the saints saying, "Oh, how shall we beautify this beautiful park on a moonlit night?" So each of the arahats, including the stream Ananda, saying how what kind of monk would beautify that beautiful park. Right? So our purpose as Buddhists is to beautify the Dhamma, if you like. Of course, that is as a lay practitioner. But here, what are the four? Who are the four people who can beautify the sangha? Now, the answer is going to surprise us. Okay, let's look at the 4 answers the Buddha gives. Number 1, among bhikshus, who is competent, disciplined, morally courageous, deeply learned Dhamma bearer who practices the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma beautifies the sangha. It's quite obvious, right? Here, this monk has got 5 qualities. Okay, first, he is competent. That means he completes his training. He finishes the 5 years of Nisaya and he goes on to study that sutta, study the Dhamma, practice meditation until he attains some level of mental competence, mental calmness, and so on. He's disciplined. Discipline here keeps the precepts well, understands the nature of the Vinaya. Morally courageous. Here it's quite a broad meaning here, meaning when something is wrong, he is very adamant and strong. He won't do it. Just as someone makes an offering which is not allowable, he will not accept it. So he's a truly virtuous practitioner and deeply learned. He knows the suttas and the Dhamma, is able to teach the Dhamma and so on. So he's a Dhamma bearer, someone who preserves the Dhamma, someone who remembers the Dhamma, who practices the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. And this person, this monk, beautifies the sangha. In this case, beautify the sangha has a deeper meaning. It means that the sangha here refers to the noble sangha. This kind of monk beautifies the sangha. In other words, from being a member of the conventional sangha, he becomes a member of the spiritual sangha. In other words, he reaches the path in this life itself. He becomes a stream winner, a once-returner, a non-returner, or an arahat. So in that sense, he beautifies the sangha. He fills the sangha with another saint. Now, number 2, the Buddha says, a non-bhikshu who is competent, disciplined, morally courageous, deeply learned, Dhamma bearer, who practices the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma, beautifies the sangha. So the same teaching is shown, describes a nun. So if the nun has all these qualities, right? He trains herself well. She's disciplined. She's morally courageous, deeply learned, a Dhamma bearer who practices the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma. She beautifies the sangha. She too will attain the path to become a stream winner, one-returner, non-returner, arahat. Now comes the third person, and this is the surprise. A layman bhikshus who is competent, disciplined, morally virtuous, deeply learned, Dhamma bearer, who practices the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma, beautifies the sangha. It's very important to note this one. So here, the Buddha says, a layman who has all these qualities, who is competent, he knows, in this case, knows the Dhamma very well, and is disciplined, keeps the precepts, morally courageous, knows what's right, what's wrong, and rejects what's wrong, is deeply learned in the suttas, and is a Dhamma bearer. And this layman practices the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma, and this layman beautifies the sangha by becoming a stream winner, one-returner, non-returner, even an arahat. Now we know, of course, number 4 would be a laywoman. A laywoman bhikshu who is competent, disciplined, morally courageous, deeply learned Dhamma bearer, who practices the Dhamma in accordance with the Dhamma, beautifies the sangha. So even a laywoman who is serious in her training, her practice, and morally courageous, deeply learned Dhamma bearer, and practices Dhamma properly, becomes a stream winner, once-returner, non-returner, arahat. She beautifies the sangha. So these are called the fourfold assembly, parisa. Okay, that's why the description just now tells us about the four kinds of members of the the Buddhist assembly or Dharma assembly, if you like. It is the monk, the nun, layman, laywomen. The sutta closes with 2 verses. Who is competent and morally courageous, wide in learning and expert in Dharma, who lives the Dharma, following the Dharma, such a one is said to beautify the sangha. So this is the first verse summary. And then next, the closing verse, and a monk endowed with moral virtue, a nun who is deep in learning, a layman who is faithful, and a laywoman who is faithful too. These indeed beautify the sangha, for they are the beauty of the sangha. So they are the beauty of the sangha, the monk, nun, layman, laywomen, by becoming saints of the path. So those are the 4 kinds of people who beautify the sangha. Then we come to the 5 qualities, the Panchaka Sobhana Sutta. Okay, the 5 discourse on beauty, or if you like, on what beautifies. A5.233. This is from SD 51.17, brackets 1.1. The sutta begins, Bhikshus, a resident monk who possesses 5 qualities, beautifies a monastery. So this is kind of specifically advising the monks how they should train themselves. What are the qualities that a monk who's training should have? What are the 5? 1, he is morally virtuous. Now notice here you have 5 qualities and they are the same 4 it is mentioned here, plus 1 extra one, which we'll look at a little in a while. He is morally virtuous. He dwells restrained by the restraint of the Patimokkha, or the monastic code. He is accomplished in conduct and resort. Here meaning he behaves properly, right? His conduct of body and speech are proper. And resort, that means he goes to the right places at the right time to collect alms. He avoids certain places all the time, like shopping centers and so on. That's called resort. He sees dangers in the slightest fault. So he doesn't say, oh, these are modern times, we can change this rule, we can ban this rule. So he's very careful. He trains himself by undertaking the training rules. So he keeps to the Vinaya. So you see here in this sutta, the various qualities are defined in some detail. Then the second quality, this monk who beautifies a monastery, or a group of monks, or sangha of monks, if you like, he is deeply learned. He remembers what he has learned. Of course, we don't just remember things automatically. You got to keep on listening, you got to recite, you got to make notes, you got to discuss, and so on. That's how you remember the teaching. He builds up what he has learned. He's a master of learning, a store of learning. He teaches the teachings that are good in the beginning, good in the middle, good in the end. This refers to the 3 trainings, Sila, Samadhi, Panya, both in the spirit and in the letter, or both in the meaning and the phrase. In other words, he remembers the teaching, and he also learns the meaning and application of the teaching. That declares the holy life fully complete and pure. The purpose of the Buddha's teaching is to train our body and speech, that's moral virtue, and to train our mind, that is mental training, so that we attain wisdom that frees us from suffering. These are what he is deeply learned in. So it is the Dharma, not worldly knowledge. He doesn't need any kind of BA, MA or PhD, but he is grounded in the Dharma. He remembers, has mastered verbally, examined them in his mind, and penetrated them rightly by view. So he studies the Dharma, he examines it, he understands it, penetrates it, means understands it rightly by view, in other words, through his own mind. So that's the meaning of deeply learned. Number 3, this wonderful person, this wonderful monk or nun is included, who beautifies a monastery. The third quality, he has a good voice, a good delivery, endowed with urbane speech. Urbane means proper speech, pleasant speech, civil speech. Distinctly clear, not driveling. In other words, faultless in speech, able to clarify any issue. Right? So here, all this we need practice. Right? 4, he's able to instruct, inspire, rouse, and gladden with a Dharma talk those who approach him. So he's a good advisor, he's a good teacher, with the Dharma, not with what they talk. And number 5, he attains at will, without trouble, without difficulty, the 4 dhyanas that constitute the higher mind, and abiding that is pleasant here and now. So he's a serious meditator also. Of course, attaining jhanas are definitely a wonderful thing. So here, even if he's not able to attain jhana, he still meditates to calm himself. And if he does this regularly, in due course, matter of time, within his lifetime, he would attain the jhana, at least the first jhana. So bhikshus, a resident monk who possesses these 5 qualities beautifies the monastery. So there you are, we have these 5 wonderful qualities of a monastic, of a monk or nun. These qualities are: he is morally virtuous, deeply learned, he has a good voice, he is able to instruct, and he practices meditation to the extent of attaining jhana as far as possible. So if he does this, he beautifies the monastery. And then the Buddha talks about the 4 kinds of persons who is competent, disciplined, morally courageous, deeply learned, dharma-bearer. And this kind of person beautifies the sangha. And here we have this kind of horizontal kind of list. You have a monk who's like that, a nun who's like that, a layman, and a laywoman who's like that. So the Buddha's teaching is all-inclusive. It's not merely meant for monastics. It also includes lay people. So here, remember, if someone says, Buddhism is only for monastics, remember the Sutra, Chatuka Sobana Sutta, the 4th discourse on the beautiful A4.7. So do reflect on these teachings for your greater wisdom. Now let us close with a short reflection. Whenever we study the suttas, whenever we reflect on the Buddha's teaching, we look deep into this wonderful opening, this window into this beautiful garden of teachings that the Buddha has given us for 45 years. There's always something wonderful there, something new and surprising that grows our wisdom, clarifies our mind. Reflecting in this way is very good karma. And by the power of such good karma, may we be blessed with peace of mind, with joy, with courage, and wisdom, to aspire at least to stream winning in this life itself. And also by the power of 3 jewels, may we be well and happy to practice the Dharma and realize the fruits in this life itself, including those who are our loved ones, our family and friends. May they be well and happy too. And may those who are serious practitioners, who are trying hard to reach the path and live the holy life, may they too attain the path in this life itself. And by the power of the three jewels too, may those who are lost, teaching the wrong things, to see the right path and return to the Buddha Dhamma in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.